Hello and welcome. You're watching the Wednesday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Shavan Said. Ladies and gentlemen, yet another attempt of Air India trying to underplay an incident that took place inside their aircraft. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we come to you with clinching evidence of how Air India has once again been caught napping. All this and much more in this edition of This Is Exclusive. But first, let me take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Indian citizen urinates on MD of an MNC in the business class of Air India flight. Company downplays incident, let goes of unruly passenger with mere warning. '2611 mastermind Tahawwur Rana shifted from Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles to an undisclosed location. NIA team hours away from getting Rana's custody. NIA sources say 6-member team led by DIG rank officer to bring back Tahawwur Rana Air Force special plane on Thursday late morning. Complete chaos and pandemonium in Jammu and Kashmir Assembly for a third consecutive day over the Waqf Act. MLAs caught in brawl and marshalled out. Republic asks, is this the opposition's peaceful protest model? Ladies and gentlemen, it's game over for Tahawwur Rana, the 2611 mastermind. He's expected to be extradited to India on Thursday. Authorities have heightened their security and proper arrangements are basically underway. In fact, the latest that we are picking up is that the special Air Force aircraft that is going to carry Tahawwur Rana is likely to arrive around noon. Tomorrow noon is what we are being told, and that it'll be refueling somewhere in Europe. The extradition of Rana marks a significant diplomatic victory for India. Now, to this date, the only key operative held accountable in India for the 26 November 2008 attacks, which claimed over 170 lives, has only been Ajmal Kasab, the sole gunman captured alive, who was subsequently tried and executed. Now, this is what we are picking up right now. In fact, tonight on This Is Exclusive, we are also joined by the man, the officer, who was able to successfully carry out with the extradition procedure. In fact, it was during the tenure of YC Modi, the former NIA chief, that the extradition process was carried out. Mr. Modi, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast. I do remember the kind of deliberations that took place at the NIA headquarters when you were at the helm of affairs. Take us through how the extradition process was carried out, because many believed that the extradition of Tahawwur Rana would have been blocked by Pakistan, and that's exactly what we witnessed.
Shavan, you may recall that NIA was established after 2611 attacks in Mumbai. So it was really a matter of pride and matter of prestige that NIA must get back the main conspirator. So for this purpose, we registered a case against Tahawwur Rana, Coleman Headley, Lakwi and others. This case is different from the case which was registered in the matter relating to Kasab and other terrorists, because Tahawwur Rana was being prosecuted by American authorities in the case relating to Mumbai attacks separately. So it was necessary that we have another case that in which he is extradited to India. In the extradition proceeding, there is a system. If somebody is facing trial in the host country, then his trial needs to be completed first, and uh, he has to undergo punishment if he is convicted. And after completion of his term in US, then only our extradition proceedings took the real steam. Though we had collected evidence against him, foolproof evidence against Tahawwur Rana, and had shared with the US authorities.
Mr.
When he completed his term in US, then we requested US authorities to detain that fellow and send him to India. We know that there are some rights available to every person, every individual, even if he is accused, even if he is involved in a very, very serious offense.
Mr. Modi, can I ask you with regards to the evidence that you make a mention of? What is the evidence that India has of Tahawwur Rana's role and the direct Pakistan link? Can you help our viewers understand the direct Pakistan link and why the extradition of Tahawwur Rana would perhaps bring in the much needed closure in this case?
Shravan, Tahawwur Rana had left India 10 days before Mumbai attacks. So we had to collect evidence of his conducting this conspiracy, of partnering with Headley and others in this conspiracy. So we used the system of AMLET and collected the emails which he sent to other conspirators from his location in US to other countries, including Pakistan. And that is a foolproof evidence against Tahawwur and indicating his involvement in this serious offense. And in extradition proceedings, we don't have the right to make our lawyer appear. It's between the US government and their courts. So first of all, we have to convince the US authorities, showing the adequacy of the evidence against any accused. So in this case, first we convince the US authorities that we have foolproof, adequate evidence against Tahawwur Rana, and that was presented by them, by US authorities to their courts. We had been helping them, we had been providing them the required evidence from our side. But when you deal with the other governments, so there is a lot of carefulness we have to do, because we can't give them the flimsy evidence. Right. So we did a lot of hard work. Our team visited many times to the US. Our lawyers also visited US many times to brief the US lawyers. So a lot of hard work was done by our NIA team, and we know that there was a pressure from
Mr. Modi,
pressure from Pakistan, so as to ensure that this man is not extradited to India, and that was handled by Ministry of External Affairs as well as political level by the present government.
Mr. Modi, can I just...
I feel that because we made a foolproof case and all the agencies work together in coordination, that this extradition has been possible.
Mr. Modi, I'll just request you to stay on with us as we are also getting in some more breaking news, and I'll come back to the Pakistan link, because here there are details of the evidence that NIA chief, the former NIA chief was talking about, the link between David Coleman Headley and Tahawwur Rana. In fact, the National Investigation Agency has essentially revealed that Tahawwur Rana called David Coleman Headley a co-conspirator 231 times across 8 visits to India. Now, of particular note, Rana basically made 32 calls to Headley on 14th of September 2006 during the first visit to Mumbai. Now, these phone records have become crucial evidence in establishing the link between the two men and significantly strengthening the NIA's case for Rana's extradition, providing clear evidence of their collaboration in the planning as well as the execution of the attacks. Let me also quickly go across to my colleague and our senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor and Mr. Modi. Both are joining us on this broadcast. Now, we are putting out the clinching evidence, Abhishek, that you were pointing out. And this, as Mr. Modi was indicating, that when they went to the court, they went with this kind of evidence. Help us understand this further.
Well, you have with you the man who really knows the inside details of this information, Shravan. This is part of the dossier which Mr. Modi shared with the American authorities. So just for the benefit of viewers, while David Coleman Headley, as part of his guilty plea, he threw Tahawwur Rana under the bus. But because Tahawwur Rana was pleading not guilty insofar as his role in Mumbai terror attacks are concerned, this evidence that at least 231 times during the 8 visits they were in touch, that he was continuously communicating with David Coleman Headley, alias Dao Jilani, and his role really, if you look at this communication, it connects the dots as to what role effectively Tahawwur Rana played in the Mumbai terror attacks. He was parallelly talking to the people in Pakistan, in the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Pakistani ISI, and doing back and forth in terms of fine-tuning the details, connecting the dots in terms of the places, recce, etc. And as Mr. Modi was mentioning, Tahawwur Rana himself spent about a week or more in India, traveling from Kochi to Ahmedabad, from Ahmedabad to Delhi, from Delhi to Agra, and even Mumbai, and stayed at the same Taj Mahal Palace where just a week later that terror attack took place. So I think that clincher material that the NIA provided in its dossier obviously helped the American authorities also realize that they cannot play footsie anymore and that he has to be extradited. And finally, the D-Day is coming, Shravan.
Abhishek, I'll request you to stay on with us. We are getting back-to-back breaking news coming in. In fact, Republic has now exclusively accessed a document that was submitted to the US court, which basically mentions that on the basis of extensive evidence provided by India to the United States for Tahawwur Rana's extradition, it is pertinently clear that as per the India-US extradition treaty, the reasons are deemed valid. The court essentially says, and I quote, found there is probable cause to believe that Rana committed the offences as to which extradition has been sought and should be extradited to India under the extradition treaty between the United States and India. In fact, the court also observed that the issues regarding David Coleman Headley's credibility do not completely obliterate the evidence of probable cause that Rana is a key accused in the case and must be extradited. Now, let me also go back to the former NIA chief, Mr. YC Modi, and as Abhishek was also pointing out, here is the man who led this entire extradition process. And one final question that I want to ask you, Mr. Modi, is with regards to the connections that emerged and the fact that this was supported by the Pakistani military. Tahawwur Rana's direct links with the ISI and the military. What is that evidence that you provided to the US court, which is why the US court made this observation that I just pointed out?
No, because we had been getting regular queries from US authorities regarding actions taken by Tahawwur Rana and his links with ISI. And we provided all that evidence to US authorities. It's a very well-known fact that this man was working as a doctor with the Pakistan Army. And after completing his maybe term or whatever you call with Pakistan Army, he shifted to Chicago, where he was running an immigration agency as well as some butcher shop. This man was regularly in touch and was on rolls of ISI along with Headley, and we provided the documents relating to his correspondence with all these known terrorists like Lakwi and others. So on the basis of that, that was a very fully convincing and clinching evidence to show his connection with ISI of Pakistan and terrorists sponsored by them. So, though difficult, the task was difficult, but I mean, I will appreciate the work done by NIA team as well as by Ministry of External Affairs and political leadership of our country that we could ensure his extradition.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Modi, for joining us on this broadcast. As the clock is now counting, once Tahawwur Rana is actually brought back to New Delhi, he's going to be produced before the NIA court, and that's where perhaps the focus would now be on the closure aspect. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the big exclusive tonight. It is yet another shocking incident of mid-air misconduct. An Air India passenger urinated on a fellow traveller on board flight AI 2336 that was en route from Delhi to Bangkok. The incident occurred during the aircraft's descent and was reported to the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the DGCA, by the airline. But what is shocking is how Air India has once again completely downplayed this entire incident. But now, on This Is Exclusive, we are going to put out proof. The MD in question, the victim in this particular case, has actually written to Air India demanding action to be taken against the perpetrator, the accused. But it turns out in a statement, in fact, this was an answer to the questions that were sent out by Republic TV, Air India simply said that there was no complaint. What you are seeing right now, in fact, I'm going to take you through this document that I'm holding. This is an email that is actually written by the victim who was there at the... He has written an email to the Air India, and this is what he says. He's made 4 demands. In fact, the first demand, he says, as per this email, is an immediate identification and action against the individual who committed the act, a formal apology from Air India, assurance and clarity on measures being taken by Air India to ensure that gross incidents do not recur, appropriate compensation for the mental distress, inconvenience and humiliation during his international business travel. In fact, I'm going to just first hold this reply, and I'm going to go across to my colleague Harsha, who's getting us this yet another proof. And meanwhile, I'm going to put out the statement or the response that Air India had given to the questionnaire that was sent by Republic TV. Can we have both? First, the questions that were sent out by Republic TV. Second, the Air India statement. And Harsha on air right now getting us this particular email reply. And let's take you through the details right now of this. Harsha, first, with regards to the reply that has now come in, this is the complaint, the official complaint that has been made by the victim to Air India. A copy of it has been signed. In fact, we're not taking the name of the victim at this point in time because Air India makes no mention of the victim. But clearly, this is a 4-page email that has been sent to Air India. In fact, he makes 4 demands.
And Shravan, as you can clearly see, there's completely difference in the claims which Air India is making, and where Air India stated that proper SOPs were followed in this entire incident. They also went on by saying that the victim didn't file any complaint with the Bangkok officials, and no complaint was filed by other passengers as well. While when we read the mail which from the MD has been sent out to Air India, here they have completely stated that there should be immediate identification and action against the individual who committed this act, a formal apology, assurance and clarity on the measures being taken by Air India to ensure that such gross incidents do not occur. Also, they stated about the appropriate compensation to the victim. They also went on by saying if the action is not taken, they will take up the matter with the ministry, with the Japan embassy and also the other authorities as well if the action is not taken. And how upset and shocked and panicked was the victim, that clearly showcases in the letter, in the formal complaint email which has been sent sent by the victim to the Air India, while Air India stated that nothing was done, only the accused apologized, everything went on well. After that, we shifted the accused from the seat 2D to seat 14C. None of the passengers asked for a complaint, and such is the unruly behavior. Unruly passengers are being dealt in Air India. Also, Shravan, this is not the first time. Previously also during the case of Shankar Mishra, who was the VP at an MNC, at that time also we saw there was a stringent action, but after Delhi police stepped in. But in this case, no action has been taken against unruly passenger. He is walking free right now. No complaint has been lodged. Nothing Air India has done. In fact, Air India till now has not informed to the Civil Aviation Ministry as well. Not even BCAS. Only one of the authorities they have informed, that is DGCA. And right now we are also trying to get in touch with DGCA, exactly what DGCA, if DGCA has given any mail, written mail to Air India regarding investigation or questioning or any notice to Air India, because till now what we have gotten to know that unruly passenger has not been banned, any fine has not been imposed against him. So we can see that the carelessness attitude of Air India still remains the same, which was earlier last year in January when the incident of Shankar Mishra happened in Air India, where he urinated on a fellow lady passenger. Back to you.
Well, in fact, Air India is certainly in big trouble. The statement that has been released by Air India in a response to the questions that were sent by Republic TV, in which they make absolutely no mention of the demand that was made by the victim. In fact, I'm holding the letter that has been addressed to the Customer Relations Department. Now, this is the letter that has been written, addressed to the Customer Relations Department of Air India. In fact, the victim says that he's writing this letter to lodge a serious formal complaint regarding an appalling and wholly unacceptable incident that occurred on board flight Delhi to Bangkok on 9th of April. The booking reference number, that there are details that have been mentioned, and the business class ticket, seat numbers, all of it has been mentioned. But he says that this is exactly what he wants. There are 4 demands that he actually makes. And the demand number 1, immediate identification and action against the individual who committed this act. A formal apology from Air India in writing. Number 3, assurance and clarity on measures being taken by Air India to ensure that gross incidents do not recur. Appropriate compensation for the mental distress, inconvenience and humiliation that has been caused during his international business travel. Now let me take you through a full frame of the Air India's statement. This is a response to the question we had asked. In fact, this is a question we had asked as to why Air India hasn't taken any action, or an official complaint has not been filed against this person. They have essentially said that the matter was solved amicably. On your seat, they say that passenger seated on 2D urinated on passenger seated on 1D during the descent. Let's take you through the others right now. Passenger seated on 1D apprised the cabin crew of the incident. In fact, they also go on to say, and I'm quoting from the statement that has been put out, this is exactly what they have said after 6 questions were basically sent by Republic TV. In fact, this is what they've said, what you see right now on your screens. And I'm taking you through the entire statement, where they confirm that an incident of unruly passenger behavior was reported to the cabin crew operating AI 2336 from Delhi to Bangkok. The crew followed all laid out procedures. Matters have been reported to the authorities. In addition to warning the unruly passenger, can we just put this breaking news coming in? Now, what Air India has done is just sent out a warning to the unruly passenger. Can we put this breaking news out? Air India's only action that has been taken, they have warned the unruly passenger. No complaint was filed by Air India. No complaint filed by Air India. And the fact that they let off the passenger with a simple warning. Crew offered to assist an aggrieved passenger to take up a grievance with authorities in Bangkok, which was declined at the time. The Standing Independent Committee will be convened to assess the incident and determine the action, if any, to be taken against the unruly passenger. Air India continues to follow the SOPs as laid out by the DGCA in such matters. Well, in fact, this is the proof that we have now put out for Air India to finally respond, because Air India has basically let off the unruly passenger with a simple warning. No complaint has been filed. We're going to send out one more questionnaire to Air India, seeking their response on this official message that has been sent to them, demanding for a complaint to be filed. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. Trending coming up on the other side.
One of the biggest dangers to our country are negative influences, dirty influencers. These are people who are there on digital mediums only to get numbers, and what they do has had a very negative effect on our society. We all know about it. But together, you and I can change that. Republic is starting an influencer incubator program where you can be part of creating some world-class content that is nation first, that helps our country, that creates awareness. And you can work with me here on this campus as part of the first phase of the Republic Influencer Incubator program, which is the Positive Influencers program. The Positive Influencers program, which is going to be run from the Republic Media Campus, which is the largest newsroom in Asia, aims to bring together a diverse set of people from across the country. You can work from where you are, you can work with me here on this campus to create content on anything which you feel, if it proliferates, if it spreads, will have a positive impact on our people. It could be in the area of health, technology, defense, awareness, current affairs, politics, or even history, science and technology. I know there are a lot of you out there who have the talent, and all that you want is the reach. And Republic is doing this to give your content the reach. Together, all of us can come together and create a content revolution in our country. The digital medium, the growth of digital in our country is one of the most fascinating things, but you can use it in a positive way for the country, or you can use it in a negative way for our country. There are too many people who are using the digital medium to make a quick buck. But together, all of us, if we become one unit that's working in national interest, that believes in nation first, then through the Positive Influencer program, we can change the way the digital medium works in our country. So come, I welcome you to work with me here on the Republic campus as part of the Positive Influencer program. Here on the Republic Media campus, you will have access to great infrastructure, a warm and welcoming professional environment, and of course, the best production values. Now, if you have the content and you feel it needs the finish, it needs to be worked on, or that you would benefit from working in an environment where there are many other content creators like you, then you can be here. You can work with me here in the Republic newsroom. You can work from home. You can make it 50-50. You can make it work the way you want. As long as you believe that the content you create, and we believe that the content you create, will make our nation number one, will be one solid contribution towards a Viksit Bharat, then you can be part of this wonderful program. The initiative I announced in the presence of the Prime Minister at the Republic Summit, which is the Republic Positive Influencer Program. So come, work with me, work with us. Let's make a difference for our country.